Hey guys, welcome back to the channel and another baby update. Well, not really an update, this is more like the first update.
Yeah.
So this is our first trimester video. We're going to be talking about sort of week by week, you know, when we knew, how Aster's been feeling, how I've been feeling, how everything's been going, and just sort of get the first sort of parts out.
We'll always remember it. So the 2-week wait was excruciating. It was probably one of the hardest parts of the first trimester. Do you think?
It was hard for you because you were sitting there like freaking out. I was like, it'll happen when it happens, but Aster was like, I want to know now.
Well, I basically thought I was going crazy. Like, I was so paying attention to my body and everything that I noticed so many changes. And I was like, if I'm not pregnant, I'm crazy. Like, I'm going insane.
Or dying.
Yeah.
That was, yeah, you at one point, I think you like, when you first threw up, because you got like really sick really quickly, and before you even found out, Aster was like throwing up and stuff, and she was like, what if I'm just dying? And I was like, I don't think you're dying. Like, there's a very clear cause and reaction here. And she was like, no, what if they're still, and she was like doing tests daily, even though she knew they weren't going to come up. And she was like, they're not coming up, I'm dead. I'm gone, this is it.
And I think the funniest thing that happened in the 2-week wait, I like immediately started craving fruit.
Yeah.
And one day, I think we were driving home from seeing your parents. We were driving home from somewhere. And I just started like crying.
Oh yeah.
Because I really, really wanted an orange, and we were driving home and it was late and I knew there weren't any oranges at home. And I was so upset.
It was
I really wanted an orange.
It was the funniest thing, and that was like the definite, yeah, this is odd.
I was like I am definitely either pregnant or insane. Like, I am crying over an orange.
Yeah. And then fast forward 2 weeks.
So at 3 weeks we found out. It was 11 days past ovulation. Yeah. So yeah, we found out quite early, and then we went and saw our doctor in week 4. So we got a blood test that week, and everything was still kind of fine. I felt quite nauseous and I was really exhausted, but at that point the nausea was like, I could handle it. Like, it was just what I thought was normal. Everything kind of stayed that way until week 6. So the start of week 6, I got really sick. On the Monday,
you just kept throwing up. Just
yeah,
from the moment you woke up till...
Yeah, that was the day I went into work.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I was throwing up. I threw up and I was like, okay, well, it'll stop.
Yeah.
Because that's what had been happening. So I went into work, and I just felt horrible the entire day. I kept throwing up like every time I tried to eat, and I just felt like disgusting. And then the next day it happened again. But it was just getting worse. Like, I was throwing up every time I ate and every time I drank.
Yeah, and it got to the point where I think through that entire week you maybe ate and kept down 2 meals.
Yeah,
it was
and not
really
even
bad.
Full meals. Like,
yeah, it was just,
I could hardly eat. It was
and
maybe like a piece of toast.
Yeah, so I made Aster go to the doctor, because Aster doesn't like going to the doctor.
Yeah, I don't like
But
going.
I made her go to the doctor, and the doctor told her that she had this. I'll get it like written across the screen, because it's hyperemesis gravidarum, something like that. I'll put it across there. It basically means like really horrible morning sickness, but it can actually, in certain scenarios, be fatal for the
baby,
the child, and even the mother.
Yeah.
Because it just, if she can't eat, neither can the baby. And so it was actually like very scary for those first 2 weeks when you weren't eating.
Yeah. So in the first 2 weeks, It was like horrible. The doctor gave me 2 types of medication and like they helped, but like the vomiting still happened, the nausea still happened. I've like for those 2-3 weeks maybe, I still could hardly eat.
What you were eating was basically just rice and potatoes.
Yeah, I could eat the blandest foods like rice, baked hot chips.
Yeah. Anything starchy really that sort of just kept your stomach.
Yeah, so I lost quite a bit of weight during those few weeks, which made it even scarier. Though we kind of like we were housebound for that kind of period. And my work was really good. So I've been allowed to work from home quite a bit for a majority of the first trimester.
They've been really good.
Yeah, so I had to tell work quite early. I told them week 7 because I had most of week 6 off. I told them in week 7 because I thought it would be better to be open with them, and it turned out to be really good because they've been
it's been so helpful, like, because I mean you have like set days that they want you to go in, like each week you work it out, but anytime they've been like, oh look, I can't come in this day, can I come in this day, they've just been like, yeah, that's fine. They've been really understanding, which is really good. Yeah,
it's been really good. It's mean I could still do my work, still be a part of the team and everything. Yeah, I don't know what we would have done.
Yeah, like I honestly, like with how bad this, like it probably to some people just sounds like she was sick, but it was honestly at the point where if her work hadn't supported us, she would have had to leave. There was no other option.
When I got my diagnosis, I also found out my blood test results, so I had to get B12 injections because I don't eat meat. So I've had to have those monthly for the first few months, and then they'll go to every 3 months for the rest of my pregnancy. So week 7, I got an ultrasound, and that's
oh yeah, that one.
This one.
Little blob.
So we got to see our little blob, but they just wanted to make sure that it was one baby because it's the severe morning sickness is very common in multiple pregnancies. Yeah.
Which you were actually devastated that it wasn't twins.
Yeah, I was a little bit sad that it wasn't twins, but I'm still happy.
She'd been getting better, but it was sort of bad to the point where she was just eating really bland, small amounts. Some days she'd still have to miss a meal or something.
Yeah.
Up until sort of, I think, halfway through week 11. Because to the start of week 11, you were like still a bit dodgy, but then I think it was like the Wednesday, because our weeks start on Fridays. I think it was like the Tuesday or the Wednesday. You were just like, I think you wanted corn chips.
Yeah.
And it was like, they're not overly, like flavorful, but it was probably the saltiest thing you had wanted in a while.
Yeah.
And you wanted a heap of corn chips.
Yeah.
And so that was like a good sign. And then from there we're like, hey, actually you can eat some stuff. So we started experimenting. Then and the doctor had recommended she eat sweet stuff in the morning and like get a quick dose of sugar, which also helped. So you first started off with like Lifesavers, but you're not a huge fan of Lifesavers.
She recommended Lifesavers to have in the morning, but the like fizzy, and I couldn't do them.
But we got Nutella for her, and just like some Nutella on some toast, and for like a week that was cool.
Yeah. Except I'm really not a fan of sweets, so like it got a bit much after a while.
Yeah, but then in week 12 last week, and you sort of I've
been doing a lot better. Yeah, I've been able to have like...
You sort of just got your routine now. You wake up in the morning, see how you get for about an hour, and then if you need to go throw up, you go throw up, and that's it for the day.
Yeah.
Or if you don't, you just sort of wing it.
Yeah. I usually, I've been mostly throwing up 2 or 3 times in the morning, and then I just feel nauseous for the rest of the day, but I don't throw up. So I've been having like saladas for breakfast, at about 10ish
Yeah.
when I start to feel like something.
Okay, yeah.
And then I have like rice and veggies for lunch to try and get some greens in. And then I've just been able to kind of have I kind of have my rice and veggies for, like, try and eat it throughout the whole day, and then by the time dinner comes around I kind of want like an actual meal. So I've been doing quite better for the last like half of week 11 and week 12.
And you've also have like vitamins and stuff that you've been having as well, just to get in this extra little bit.
The very first day of week 13 we went in for an ultrasound, and this time Jordan came.
Yeah, and I got to see the little baby moving his hands.
Yeah, it was a really good ultrasound.
It was really funny.
It went for like a long time.
Like half hour.
Yeah, half hour about.
It was funny, when she first got the photo up, the baby was like, this is already the greatest baby ever because it's so chill. It was like laying hands behind its head, legs crossed out, and I was like, you look so relaxed.
Yeah.
It's like, you just look chill as hell.
Yeah.
And then that caused problems.
Yeah, it didn't want to budge, it didn't want to open its legs and show us what kind of baby it is.
So yeah, she was sitting there and like she got all like her main photos and her measurements of the head, and then she was sitting there, she's like, alright, we'll try and get measurements of the legs and stuff like that. So she's like, alright, I'll try and roll it over, see what happens. Jiggles the thing around, rolls the baby over, and then legs spread. And we're like, awesome. So she gets a measurement from the back, just to like quickly get the measurement, and then she's like, alright, we'll roll it back over. Roll it over, legs cross. Roll it over, legs out. Roll it over, legs cross. We give up.
Yeah.
That was sort of like how it went with that part, and then once we had done that, she tried to get a few more photos and measurements, and then it wouldn't sit still.
Yeah.
And it was just constantly moving, and just like head was jerking, its
jerking
arms were waving,
around.
its legs were going.
So
it was going
It definitely
mental.
takes after Jordan.
Yeah.
It won't sit still.
It was going absolutely crazy. It was hilarious.
Yeah, but that was really cool. It was quite different than the ultrasound at week 7. Like it looked more like a baby. Like it had like arms and legs.
Head.
It was moving around. It was like interacting, and it was really cool. It made it a lot more real.
Yeah. Yeah, not a
And
lot
a
of
lot
things made me
more
tear
worth
up,
it.
but it made me tear up a little bit.
Yeah.
Didn't cry, but came real close. I probably will next time when it's actually like a full formed baby that we see.
Yeah.
That might get me.
How has the first trimester really been for you?
So for me, I think it was it's obviously thrown a bit of a curve into our life where normally I'd be a bit more like, I am definitely a bit rude sometimes, and like if you ask me for something I'm like, nah. But I think I've sort of noticed it very quickly that, like, especially because you have that hypermajiggy, you physically can't do a lot of things, so I've had to step up and take care of cleaning, the cooking, the going out and getting stuff, like going and shopping alone, doing groceries alone, which I am terrible at. So I've definitely had to I've noticed that, and I've sort of definitely feel a whole new connection to you having this. But I think it will continue to change everything once we have the child. It will continue to be a bit different. But I think that's sort of really how I felt about it, is that, like, to me, because it's not me being pregnant, I really only see the change to you. Up until seeing the ultrasound last week, it was just you being sick. Like, that's why, because I didn't see the first ultrasound or anything. It was just, oh, Aster's sick, I gotta, jump up, I gotta do this, I gotta do that, I gotta help. Which I'm happy to do because I knew why I was doing it. But I think until I saw that ultrasound, it was sort of just like still a chore. But since seeing that ultrasound, I know it's only been like 3 days, but it's made it completely different, where I'm like want to go and do stuff like that. And it's not as difficult for me to do that. And I think because I've been in such a routine for the past 8 weeks now, that it's just been good. I've just enjoyed watching you get so happy about having a child,
Yeah.
and being able to help both of you and forcing you to eat when you don't want to eat because you need to eat.
Yeah. The eating has been really hard.
I feel like if you hadn't had the bad morning sickness, like I might feel a bit differently to the whole thing, but I'm glad you have had it, because I feel like it's given me a whole new appreciation that I wouldn't have had, and that I might have been a not as good husband or not as good father because I didn't have that. Like, this has sort of given me a chance to grow as a person and become a better person.
Yeah, and kind of connect to the baby more, because you've had to like really look after me, and in turn look after the baby.
Yeah, exactly. So I think it has come with its blessings, but it has also been hard. But luckily you haven't woken me up at 4 a.m. wanting some ridiculous crap. You usually send me at 10 p.m. at night before I'm going to go to bed.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's been good. And I have enjoyed it, because usually I buy myself something anytime I go out for a grocery run, so can't complain that much.
Yeah, you always get little treats. I've had a fair few cravings. In very early on, it was fruit. I wanted so much fruit. I wanted all kinds of fruit. I wanted fruit smoothies, fruit tea, like just any way I could have fruit, I wanted it. And then once I got sick, it was a bit harder, because like I was craving stuff, but I knew that if I ate it, like what the consequences would be. So one thing I really, really wanted but haven't had yet, because I haven't wanted to experience throwing it up, is my spicy noodles that mee goreng. I was like addicted to mee goreng before the pregnancy, and I've wanted them so bad the entire time, but I just don't want to deal with the consequences of eating them. I crave quite like salty foods or like savory foods. I craved Nerds once. I can't remember what week it was, but I had like this massive craving for Nerds, and it was so strange because I like eat sweets like maybe 3 times a year. Like I hardly ever want candy, but throughout the pregnancy I've wanted candy like the most out of like any other time in my life. A big craving I've had is slushies, and I know that's quite a normal one because of like the crushed ice. I feel like if somewhere just sold like a crushed iced water slushie, like that would be my life. But I've really been craving Coke slushies, so I've tried to only have one every now and then because of the caffeine, but they're like my life. It's Jordan's turn to take over. He's been like my food collector because I haven't been able to like step foot in the kitchen, so he probably remembers all of them.
So starting off with was when we first found out she was pregnant was fruit. The thing with fruit though was that she didn't necessarily want to eat it, she just wanted it in the house. So I would go to the shops, I would buy watermelons, I would buy bags of oranges, I would buy apples, I would buy raspberries, I would buy strawberries, and they would sit in the fridge, and she would have maybe an orange of those bags.
Or I'd have like one of each or something.
You'd have a little bit, you'd have like a piece of watermelon.
Yeah.
And it would all go off, and I'd be like, okay, great. And then you just put the next week, you're like, I definitely want fruit this week. I'm gonna have fruit this week. And I'd buy it all again, and she'd have, you know, bits and pieces. And that was it. It was gone. Didn't want fruit anymore. It's like, all right, cool. Then you wanted salad. You wanted, for the first couple of weeks, you wanted salads, and you never want salads. You hate salad.
I hate salad.
Like, you enjoy the individual ingredients, but you hate having salad as a meal. So that was weird, you wanting a salad. And then, further along, there was the Nerds. You've had them, you sort of sporadically have them. You've had them, I think, 3 or 4 times now. Yeah. You've just been like, I want some Nerds, and you just polish them off. They'll be gone. The Nerds go away quickly.
Yeah, I think because they're a little bit sour too.
Yeah. And the other one was, the other candy, it wasn't, not necessarily a craving, but it's just Cool Mints. She found a bag of Cool Mints. Found a bag of Cool Mints in the cupboard and was like, oh, Cool Mints. She had them, and then all of a sudden, the next day was like, give me more Cool Mints. I was like, okay, you want more Cool Mints? Then you wanted the Nutella toast. You were actually, that was actually a craving. It was
Yeah,
a
it
sweet thing,
started
but
as
you
a
were just
craving.
like, ooh, I really want some Nutella. So we got a Nutella toast. Then you wanted corn chips. And you wanted corn chips. You really wanted corn chips. You ate so many corn chips.
Yeah, so many.
You loved them. But it was like, you never had anything with them. Like, every now and then you'd have salsa with them. But you just wanted the corn chips.
Yeah, plain, original
Yeah.
corn chips.
And then there's a few other things that you've wanted, but it's not necessarily things you haven't necessarily craved prior to the pregnancy, but it's been more. You wanted so many more hot chips and gravy.
Yeah.
You wanted dup soy for that week.
Yeah.
And then you only ate, like, that's kind of like the fruit thing. She wanted dup soy, but then just like to look at it. And then you wanted
Or just smell it and not eat it.
you craved pizza for a bit, but you never actually wanted me to get it.
Yeah.
You would just tell me you wanted it, but then anytime I was like, oh, you want to get pizza? You're like, no, I don't want pizza. And
Yeah.
You're like, but I do want pizza.
Because tomato is quite acidic and I knew
Yeah.
it would make me sick. So
Um,
I was like, I want it, but I can't.
What else has there been? I think those are sort of like the big things. There's been a couple of little things where she's been like, once here and there, she'll be like, oh, I want this. And then we'll just be like, alright, cool, you can have that. But those are like the big things where she's like, I
Yeah, the more constant
burst
things.
out into tears if she doesn't get them. Well, no, that's Whoppers.
Oh yeah.
Whoppers from Hungry Jack's.
Whoppers.
Literally, there was a week where she had it every night for dinner.
Yeah.
A Whopper without the meat, just the lettuce, tomato,
yeah, lettuce,
onion,
onion,
and the
tomato.
sauce. And
That's
you
it.
had, for a week, you had it every night, and then from there you had it once or twice, and once you had your fix, you were just like, no, I'm done with Whoppers. I don't want Whoppers anymore.
Yeah. I think after a while the onion started getting to me.
Yeah, I think that's everything. And you wanted back scratches a lot. You've never wanted a back, like, you every now and then you want a back rub,
Yeah.
but you've really wanted me to scratch your back, and
Yeah, I've been
specifically
really
your bright
itchy.
shoulder blade.
Yeah, I've been quite itchy.
So it's things like that. You haven't had any weird things, like you haven't wanted to chew on chalk or sponges or anything yet.
Yeah.
But I'm still waiting for that to come with how much you've changed with your cravings.
Yeah, well, like I
Ugh.
used to crave like lots of stuff like the normal pregnancy things. Like I love pickles and like that kind of thing, like before pregnancy.
And now that you have it, you don't, because there's a couple of things that what was it? There was one you looked at the other day and you're like, I love this food, but looking at it right now, I just want to throw up. What was it? It was something
I don't know.
it wasn't pickles. I think you did gag at the sight of pickles at one point.
Yeah.
And you were just like, why am I sad about pickles? I love pickles.
Yeah, pickles are like my favorite thing on
And
earth.
there was something else as well, and you were just like, I love this food, but looking at it right now, I want to destroy it.
Yeah, that's another thing. Like I haven't been able to until like this week. I really haven't been able to scroll through like Facebook because just seeing.
We follow so many food.
Yeah,
things.
because I love food. I love making food. Like everything. Most of my feed on Facebook is food, and I haven't been able to go on Facebook because like even just seeing food or like the ads of people making food just makes me throw up. Like Jordan took us to the petrol station on the way somewhere, and he parked in front of like this sign that was like preparing steak or
But
something.
when we parked in front of it was one of those roller signs. When we
Yeah,
parked in
it's
front of
one
it,
of
it was
the
an
one that
internet ad.
changes.
It was internet. Everything was like that broadband, the IINet internet dude, and he was standing there. And then I walked inside, and I come out, and Aster's in tears, and I'm like, "What's wrong?" And she's like, points, and I'm like, "Oh, whoops."
Yeah, like every couple of seconds was like this steak preparing ad, and like it just like even when I looked away, I could see it out of the corner of my eye, and it was just like making me so sick to my stomach.
Yeah, I think you've been very positive through this whole thing, though. Like, you haven't had any body image things, like, not like prior to your pregnancy, you sort of have had
That
body
was
image.
like the very
problems.
start, like week 4 was quite hard, but then
You did have some small, but you've actually been really good about, like, you haven't complained about any parts of your body that may have been flabbier. Even when your tummy, you get so happy, you'll be like looking at me and you'll be like, Jordan, come over here, and I'll be like, what? And you're like, look how big my stomach's getting.
yeah. I think once I got sick, I was like, okay, well, my body's just, it's not about me anymore.
And you sort of just had an appreciation for being bigger.
Yeah.
Because it meant that you were healthy. Like, at that point, it wasn't anything about beauty anymore. It was like, well, I need to be bigger to be healthier, because that means the baby's bigger and healthier. Which, by the way, we haven't mentioned that. At the last ultrasound, the baby is now, at the first ultrasound, the baby was small. And
Yeah,
the next
it was
ultrasound,
measuring
it's big.
small.
It's
Yeah.
like 8 centimeters when it's only meant to be like 7.5 or something.
7.3.
7.3.
Yeah, and it was measuring 8.
Yeah.
So hopefully it's going to be tall like Jordan and not short like me.
So thank you so much for joining us and listening to us ramble. We have probably cut a lot of stuff out because this is now 32 minutes of footage. Most of it's just us rambling. So we might cut it down to the gems. But yeah, so thank you so much for watching.
Hiccups.
Yeah, you get hiccups a lot. So thank you so much for watching. We hope you've enjoyed this update, and we'll stick around for more. Make sure to subscribe for all those new updates. And you can follow us on our journey with our new family member.
Woo!
Woo! Bye.
Bye.